And wow, welcome back to Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and tonight, or if you're seeing this in the morning, we will be going over this Ohio State and Texas game and my NFL wildcard predictions. Uh, since Super Wildcard Weekend it's not officially here yet, but it starts 4:30 with Chargers Texans, then 8 o'clock on Prime, Amazon Prime. Yeah, Steelers and Ravens. But we'll get into this Ohio State Texas game because I have a lot to say. Ohio State defeats Texas in a whale of a game, physical, great game, 28-14. And Jack Sawyer, if Ohio State wins the championship, or maybe even if they don't, but if they win it, he'll for sure be an Ohio State legend. Uh, Texas, they gave Ohio State all they can handle. Props to the defense. Props. They and talent and to me, these were the two most talented teams in the country coming into the year. I thought there was a good chance they played in the national title. Pete Koratowski, the defensive coordinator for for um, Texas, shout out. They took Jeremiah Smith away in the game. They did. They took him away. They kept that Ohio State offense in check. Oh, Ohio State scored 21 points mainly. Yeah, they scored 21 points. It's written that screenplay at the end of the half was bad. I get it, but Texas defense, I think they did enough to win this game. Today was on the offense. Look, it's a 14-14 game in the fourth quarter here. We'll have Ohio State offensively didn't play their greatest game. They had a bunch of penalties that really killed drives, and obviously how they got pressure to Howard. Texas defense did, and really Texas just hung around. It was never of a blow. This is gonna Ohio State's gonna blow this open. Texas just kind of hung around the whole night till the fourth quarter. Yeah, that strip sack. That is a bad. Sark is in Quinn. Quinn, I know he's declaring, I guess. So can come. He needs to come back if I'm being brutally honest. But he's coming back to the draft. He is going to the draft. Sark will most likely have Arch Manning as his quarterback next year. That's a brutal game to lose. Absolutely brutal game. If you're Texas, you're going to be sitting back this off season and just thinking, what could it, Texas and Penn State? Honestly, I think Penn State had the worst loss. I think Ohio State was overall better, but Texas could have still won the game. But people are going to put this loss on Quinn Ewers. I don't think it's on him personally. If you looking at what they couldn't run the ball early on, they couldn't create separation. The receivers couldn't. The O line had trouble against that good defense for Ohio State. I think played decent. I don't think he was terrible. I think he was okay. I just think he was okay. That's what he was. I just think he was okay. But in these games you need to be better than okay. And this is the thing with Quinn in draft stock. And when it comes to his draft stock, a lot of that, Quinn isn't going to be a guy that takes you over the top. Texas needed a guy to take him over the top in this type of game. Quinn will not be that guy. He won't be that guy at this level. And I don't think at the next level he will be that guy. Now, he's still really good. Like, Quinn Ewers is 22. I think he's 22 years old. Like, he'll be fine. This one's just a tough one to learn on. This is a tough. and this is a learning experience for Sark again. And Texas, this is the second year in a row they've lost in brutal fashion in the semifinals, where last year you get down there late against Washington. You've got two bad throws by Ewers. You can't get it in you can't get in the end zone. Washington survives, and then now you're driving. You're at the one, and that three-play sequence is, or the four-play, I whatever you want to call it. The If you want to call it four-play sequence, mainly it was the three-play sequence because first and goal, okay, you don't get it on a run. Okay, sometimes that happens. The second and goal is what set everything up. You ran a toss on second and goal, and Ransom, he sniffed it out, and it was a loss of 7 on the play. That one, going to the end of the game, that was the one that killed them. And then they didn't, third down, they didn't get anything. Fourth down was the strip sack for the touchdown. If you watched the game, uh, brutal. Ewers is, again, Sark's going to be thinking about this one this off season. This is a tough one to learn on too, because this is the best team unquestionably since you've been here. And look, they were a 4th and 13 away from losing to Arizona State. So again, I think if they would have lost that one would have been questioning Sark. I think Sark is fine. Honestly, I don't think with Quinn, he's gotten the best out of Quinn. I think I think in the 3 losses they've had this year, outside of the first Georgia one, excuse me, I don't think Ewers played bad in the second Georgia game. I think they had a lot of penalties that killed him, and Georgia's defense was really good. I don't think he played bad. And then in this game, I don't think he played bad, but again, he's not the game changer that you want him to be. And so I'm looking at this game. It's 20 it's 28-14, and it's honestly a two-play game. If I'm being real, people will be like, "Oh, it was 28-14." It's a two-play game. It's the strip. It's the screen at the end to make it 14-7. It's just screen at the end of the half. You can't give that up after you just tied it at 7, 75 yards. You can't give that up. And then the strip sack at the end, obviously. This is a two-play game. It's as simple as that. It was a two-play game, honestly. Texas, for the most, I don't think Texas outplayed Ohio State. I think they outplayed them in the third, but I think Ohio State, probably in the second and third, they outplayed them. I would say second, third. It was pretty even. And then in the Ohio State, outplayed them obviously in the first and in the fourth too. So it's a tough one. Ohio, you're gonna look at the stats in this game, and there's nothing jaw dropping. Ohio State offensively wasn't fantastic. I mean, Jeremiah Smith he had one catch for 3 yards. They took him out the game. Give credit to Carnell Tate, who would be a number one on a lot of teams in college, but has been a number 3. That's just how stacked the receiver room is. He stepped up today. The Chip Kelly in the fourth quarter, really, the play calls were great. The QB run was Will Howard. They hadn't done it all night. They do it there. Then they punch it in with Judkins. That last drive, it was just, oh, he was in his bag. And Ohio State pulls it out 2014. The early line, because it's Ohio State, Notre Dame. The early line is Ohio State favored by 9.5. The game's in 10 days. Uh, January 20th, Monday night, 7:30 from Atlanta. Funny enough, where Notre Dame won a game this year and Ohio State hasn't played there this year. Yeah, like if I'm looking at this, like you'll look at the box score. Will Howard's 24, 33, 289, a touchdown and a pick, not bad. Ewers was 23 for 39, 283, two touchdowns and a pick, not bad. Uh, they only ran. They again, Ohio State only ran the ball for 3.4 yards per pop. Judkins had two touchdowns. Texas ran it for 2 yards per pop. To be honest, from the Texas standpoint, I if you can't run the ball, you're not gonna you weren't gonna be Ohio State. Like that's the one thing I think going to this Notre Dame Ohio State game that if Notre Dame they pride themselves on running the ball. If Notre Dame can't run the ball, they will not beat Ohio State. To me, Notre Dame is going to have to keep it. Al Golden is a terrific coordinator. To me, Notre Dame's going to have to keep it lower scoring because if Ohio State gets to 30, I think they win the game. I think they win the game and they win the championship. It's a rematch of last year where Notre Dame had them beat. They didn't have 10 men on the. They had 10 men on the field, so I love to see that. Obviously, two different teams. Uh, Now both teams are better than they were a year ago, significantly. But this was just Ohio State. I talked last night about Notre Dame and them having a will to win. Ohio State, it was a similar thing. Jack Sawyer makes the play of a lifetime. Caleb Downs makes a great play. Ohio State on to the national championship game against against Notre Dame. My early thoughts on that: Ohio State's more talented, but I thought Penn State was more talented too. I think obviously controlling the time of possession for Notre Dame is going to be key. They have to get after Will Howard. I believe they can do that. I would like to see Al Golden's game plan against that offense. How do they plan to take Jeremiah Smith out of it? They're going to be watching a lot of Texas film because they took Jeremiah Smith out the game, which Tennessee and Oregon just failed to do. They failed to do, but yet they'll look at that from an Ohio State standpoint. Uh, try to their corners haven't. I don't want to say they haven't been tested, but this is going to be the best receiving core that they're going to see. Ohio State is going to be key because if you get up two scores early, I don't know if Notre Dame, and I know they came back down two scores. It was 10-0 against Penn State, but I'm talking about they get up 14-0. Where they need two touchdowns. Let's see, but I think Notre Dame could potentially overcome that. I don't know. You're gonna have to force Riley Leonard to throw the ball, but he showed against Penn State he can throw the ball. Can he do it again? Let's see. That game, January 20th, Monday night. That is going to be a fantastic game, and I'll be all over it with the coverage because this is going to be the most viewed championship game in a long time. Two big brands, Atlanta, no SEC teams. You're going to have the Irish versus the Buckeyes. First national title game appearance for Ohio State since 2020 2021 year. It was the COVID year with Fields that got obliterated by Alabama. Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, and this is the first national title game appearance since the 2012-2013 season, the Manti Te'o season, where Notre Dame came out of nowhere. BCS national title got crushed by Alabama 42-14. So, yeah, let's see what we have. Let's see. All right, here, let's go to wild card weekend. Lion. here. Lions and the Chiefs are the ones he has to buys. On the AFC, here is the matchup 2 seed. It will be 2 seed Bills facing 7 seed Broncos. 3 seeded Raiders taking on the 6 seeded Steelers. The 4 seeded Texans taking on the 5 seeded Chargers. For the NFC, 2 seeded Eagles taking on 7 seeded Packers. 3 seeded Bucks taking on the 6 seeded Commanders. 4 seeded Rams taking on 5 seeded Vikings. But let's start off with the first game that's on Saturday, Chargers and Texans. Look, this game, I believe the Chargers win it because the Texans are so beat up. Like, I get to get Aziz Al-Shire back on defense, but no Diggs, obviously, no Dell on the offensive side of the ball. Here's what I'll say: they're gonna have to lean on Joe Mixon, obviously, but if they can run the ball, and also the O line, like the O line of the Texans has not been good. Has not been good this season. They've let they've let teams really pressure Stroud heavy, and you've seen some regression. Bobby Slowick's gonna have to have a good game plan. If I'm the Chargers, I'm doubling Nico Collins and daring anybody else on the receiving core to beat me. I'm doubling Nico Collins. Him and Stroud are still one of the best duos in the league. They still have that. I'm doubling him, but I think it could be a nightmare day. They're gonna have to help those 2 tackles. The Texans are, because Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, the way the pressure Chargers have been a top 5 defense. They were number one. I think they're still number one defense. So, for that reason, I'm picking the Chargers over Texas. I think Herbert. This is the game he shows. Yes, I am that quarterback. I can get into the playoffs and win a game. I think the Chargers are going to win. It won't be an upset. I think if Houston beats them, that's the upset, considering how banged up Houston is. But yeah, I'm picking the Chargers to win this game. It's going to be a close game. It's one of the playoff games that the national media aren't talking about because a lot, but it's a very fascinating game, I think, from my end. All right, so yeah, I got the Chargers over Texans next. On if you have Amazon Prime, you watch this. If you don't, hey, yeah, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Just put it on cable. But we're not going to get into that. Ravens over the Steelers. I've got Baltimore winning. Yes, I know Zay Flowers is out, but I think momentum is a real thing, obviously. I think Baltimore, their defense is playing better. Offensive, it's going to be a close game. Like Ravens and Steelers is always close. Doesn't matter how bad or how good a team is or how bad a team is. It's always going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game. The Steelers offense, though, they're going to have, if they want to win this game, they got to find any sort of juice. Maybe they play Justin Fields a little bit. If Russ can't get it going, if Fields comes in and he has a good series, maybe they ride with him. Maybe he gives them a little juice. I don't know. But right now, Steelers offense just feels dead. No Zay Flowers. Look, Todd Monken. You have obviously you have 8, but you have 22 in the backfield. Run the damn ball. Or run the dang ball. Run it. You gotta run the dang ball. Run the dang ball? Yeah, run it. I know Baltimore. I know Pittsburgh has a great front, but you brought in 22 for a reason. For moments like these in the playoffs. Obviously wild card round, but then the whole playoffs. Henry's got to touch this ball 25, 30 times. And sprinkle that in with Lamar still have weapons. The way they play the man-to-man, the two high safeties, that's going to be interesting. But to me, the Steelers, I think this is the first game where they're going to come in, and I think they're just going to play free because all the pressure's on Baltimore to win. I don't really think there's that much pressure on Pittsburgh. Nobody expects them to win this game, right? So I think that I think Baltimore is gonna, they can't feel the pressure. Like Lamar, I think his issue in the playoffs is he presses too much. Just don't press. Play your game. I think if they do that, run the football, get Likely and Andrews tight end involved defensively, don't give up the deep ball. I think if they do those things, they will beat Pittsburgh and they'll win. All right. So the Sunday got 3 games on Sundays. Let's start with the first one, 1:00. Bills and Broncos. I got the Bills over the Broncos. Now I've seen different takes on this game. I've seen whereas people are going to say Denver is going to get blown out. They think the Bills are going to win decisively. I've seen people be close. Look, everybody's picking Buffalo. Nobody thinks Denver can pull off the upset if they're outside, unless you're in Denver rooting. This is going to be a really close game, I think. Look, I know how great Josh is, and I know in the playoffs he's been great, and he could sometimes put on the cape. I believe he's going to have to put on the cape again in this game. The interesting thing is going to be the secondary of obviously the secondary of the Broncos against the Bills receivers, and then how will Bo Nix perform? Those are your two main things. Broncos defense is really good. Bills are going to have trouble in this game. Broncos defense is really good. Their edge rushers, they're great at keeping their scrambling quarterbacks in the pocket, which Josh Allen obviously can throw to the pocket, but it's when those off script plays, if he makes those are the one that just demoralizes teams. If you're Denver, you can't have that. You have to keep outside contained. If I'm the Bills, obviously I'm going to run it. Obviously, you're going to use James Cook. You can't become too Josh Allen reliant, because if you do, it's what gets you beat in the playoffs. It happens every time. Now, do I still think the Bills win this game? Yes. I don't think the Bills are just going to roll over them. No, I think this Broncos team takes it deep into the fourth, where you're like, it gets a little nervous. But I think just having Josh 1 or 2 plays, they'll pull it out. But look for Bo Nix to play really well in this game. Bo Nix, the national audience, I know that all the attention's been on Jayden Daniels, Brock Bowers. Some people aren't looking for Bo Nix. They haven't been watching a lot of Broncos games and looking at Bo Nix. I'm telling you, Bo Nix, his development, he's really good, and he's going to be really good for a long time. So yeah, I am taking the Bills in this game still, but it will be a close one. This one, the 4:00 game on Fox, America's Game of the Week, Eagles and Packers. I've been debating on who to pick, and I'm still gonna lean Philly. I know the big thing is Jalen Hurts coming off the concussion, obviously in his head. They played once. Packers almost got him. It was 34-29. Look, Green Bay. Green Bay, Love is a little banged up. They're not going to have Christian Watson and their deep threat who stretches the field. Against Philadelphia, you need big plays. You need guys that can stretch the field. And he's not going to be there. Now, Green Bay, you have Josh Jacobs for a reason. If you want to win this game, I believe you want to control the time of possession and you want to jump on them early. Jump on the Eagles early. If you can jump on the Eagles early, maybe start to feel a little bit of pressure and gain pressure, I think that is a way you can beat them. If you don't jump on them early, I'm not going to say it's completely over, but your chances go significantly down because they're a great, obviously fourth quarter team, and they're a great second quarter team as well. So those slow starts, I don't, the slow starts against Philly, I've been talking about it. Playoffs, it could concern me, but we'll see. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has a concussion. The Packers game plan, they're probably going to blitz some, try to see if Hurts is as sharp as he was, because he's missed 3 games and now he's coming back to play in a wild card playoff game. That's a big ramp up. So we'll see. But I do think the Eagles get it done. I think it may be a lower scoring game. I think Jeff Hafley has a great game plan. I also think Vic Fangio has a good game plan for the Packers. Wouldn't be shocked if the Packers won it because the Packers still have talent, and the Packers, one of the youngest teams in this league, still really good. But I think the Eagles just slightly edge them out. All right, let's go to this game. The Commanders and the Bucks. It's the Sunday night game. Uh, my dang it, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth. This one is interesting because I've seen everybody picking the Commanders, and now it makes me want to pick the Bucks. I love Baker Mayfield. I love the way mainly their offense is playing when it comes to Baker, Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan really starting to emerge as that real number 2. I don't know what they're going to do with Godwin in free agency, but starting to emerge. What concerns me, though, is their defense. They play a lot of soft zone. A lot of times you can't let Jaden Daniels just get 8-9 yard completions all day long. I thought Jaden Daniels in the first matchup was hesitant, had some deep shots that he didn't take. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I think he's going to be letting it rip. I think this could be a shootout game. I think the Commanders are going to shock them. Now, it wouldn't shock me. I love Baker, but there's been too many. I don't trust their defense. There's been too many games this year. Chiefs, Niners. What was the Chiefs, Niners? Oh, Baltimore. What was the other one? Oh, I think not Dallas. Chiefs, Baltimore. Think that those are the ones that come to mind right now. Those are where their defense just collapsed late in the game. Oh, Atlanta when they played them the first time and the second time. Yeah. So I don't trust their defense. I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it. So I'm gonna pick the Commanders to win this game. All right, last one. Obviously, it's the Vikings and the Rams Monday Night Football. It's in Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium. Prayers to the people is going through with the fires, the wildfires in California. The Vikings and the I think the Vikings. I think Sam Darnold's going to bounce back, and I think obviously the Rams beat them earlier this season. The Rams, to me, have been a dark horse Super Bowl team all year. I thought they'd come back and win the West, which they did, but I just don't like the matchup. I don't like the matchup this time. I know they won the first time, but I think Brian Flores, they're going to make some adjustments. I think Sam Darnold's going to come back and play well. That Rams defense, a little young. I get they have some experience because of last year. I just think the Vikings are going to find a way here. I think Jefferson maybe makes a couple catches. What the Rams have to be able to do here is they got to first take away Jefferson. And then, look, Detroit did a great job of taking away Jefferson and Addison. I don't know if they're going to be able to take away both. Take away Jefferson. I think that's going to be the thing. Take him away. But yeah, I think the Vikings win this game and advance to the divisional. And I think they get their revenge, obviously. That is it for the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Late night edition. This will be up sometime in the morning. CFP National Title Game is set. Wild Card Weekend is here. Until next time, see ya.